only seeing, hearing, tasting, feeling, what's the other one? Smelling. A narrow bandwidth. A narrow bandwidth. You see visible light. But there's a whole spectrum of electromagnetic radiation you're not seeing. You only hear a certain range. And you have the capability to hear really high and really low. But you're really only listening for a narrow range. And even in that range, you're tuning out certain frequencies like mom's voice. You learn to tune out nagging. Or if there's a buzzing in your house, you tune it out, but somebody comes over and it annoys the shit out of them because they haven't learned to tune that frequency out. So not only are you only listening to a narrow bandwidth and you're only looking for a narrow bandwidth, you actually are blind in a couple of spaces there also. And sensation is a bandwidth too. There's frequency to temperature, for example, or compression waves, like the sound or whatever. That's kind of a sound, but that's a feeling. All energies could be expressed in a frequency. That is a quality of energy. And even chemical potential energy, like what you smell and taste, has a frequency. You're only experiencing a range of what is available on planet Earth. We're not even going into dimensions and other planets and things. Just on Earth, on the surface, which is a pretty narrow temperature range, it's hospitable and everything. You are only experiencing a narrow frequency bandwidth. After you do some mindful breathing and stretching, you'll notice that you're a little bit more receptive to a broader range. Especially, that's why I like doing it outside, because there's a much more spectrum of experiences in nature than in the controlled environment of your apartment. Yeah. And there's a lot more colors, a lot more textures, bigger space, different sounds. You never know, a kid might bicycle through here and that's not available in your house. And it's literally mind expanding. You expand the bandwidth that you can perceive, and your mind becomes more filled with senses. Then it becomes important to kind of lasso those senses, because it would be easy to just get pulled one way or another. There's a reason why you eliminate certain bandwidths. The mind is mostly an elimination mechanism. There's too many senses coming at us, and we would go crazy if we perceived them all. So the mind is just filtering out. That's not important, that's not important, that's not important. Let me just focus on this thing. When you find stillness, there's less need to filter out things. You start observing more, and new things become available. Outside of your range, there might have been a little golden thing that you were interested in that you weren't seeing because it was outside of your audio range, outside your visual range.